Greetings, I'm Rehmannia Dean Thomas, founder and president of SuperTonic Herbs. Come and check out my new line of Tonic Herbal Elixir formulas made of the great tonic herbs known throughout history to help us maintain health of the body, mind, and spirit. And we live fully, and for your life to have fortunate experiences. Tonic herbs have been around for 5,000 years or more. Our lineage focuses on the early development of Chinese herbology from 2975 BC, when the first known pharmacopoeia of Oriental herbs was written. These are the herbs that we focus on, and they're called tonic herbs. The word tonic comes from the Greek word tonify, which means to tune the strings of an instrument into harmony. Tonic herbs are important in our lives today as our world becomes a more perilous place, more toxic. Stress is taxing our adrenals, carcinogens in the air and water. Some of us aren't happy, we have heartbreak, we aren't fulfilled. The tonic herbs, when taken along with a healthy diet, can help us live adventurous, creative lives, bear healthy children. So let me tell you a little bit about my formulas. I'm a tonic herbalist in the Gate of Life lineage. We focus on combinations of herbs that help balance life. A criteria of a tonic herb is that it must benefit more than one of the three primary energies of life. There are three treasures: Jing, the body and its reproductive capacity; Qi, sunlight metabolized into our daily energy needs; and Xin, the light given back out. My formulas focus on harmonizing those three energies in your body. Our organ systems, we want them working harmoniously with each other. The tonic herbs were developed in formulations to support harmonic interaction of the five organ systems. So let me get started with a little bit of details about my products. We source tonic herbs grown in the Manchurian province of northern China. This area is similar to Maine and New Hampshire. Way up north, the cities like Beijing, Shanghai are further down to the south, and their pollution blows to the west. The Chinese government is now protecting this area, creating United Nations monitored biospheres to protect these wonderful plants for the sake of future generations. I have been to the Manchurian province and seen the people collecting, going up into the woods, carrying back out in bushel baskets, and these people fix the path they came in on. These might be some of the #1 biologists on earth, and they're handed down their job in a family lineage now for thousands of years. If anybody was to ever come to them and say, hey, how about using this chemical? There's no way, because one thing, the plants are wild and those people can't afford be spraying chemicals all over the forest. Then when collected, they're transported in mule carts into the major centers where the herbs are then put into a hemp bag according to the formulation I send them, and cook it for a couple of hours under pressure. At the end of that cooking process, a valve is let loose and the boiling hot tea goes into a drying vat where there's a spinning gyro so fast that the tea comes shooting out and goes poof and dries into a dust and goes down to the conical bottom on the container, and then in the end they sweep that into a bag and send it to me. My formulas are essentially reconstituted herbal teas, bulk powdered extracts, not in capsules, so that you can put a little of it in a cup of hot water and drink it. And surprisingly, my formulas taste really good. I buy in small batches. I use every bit of it before I order more. Only 10-to-1 powdered extracts in our formulas. There's no fillers like maltodextrin, or rice bran, or mycelia. I also innovated adding a little bit of the herb Lohan Guo, which is today called monk fruit. Lohan Guo, it's actually indicated for lung health, so it's a very healthy herb. So my formulas are pristine, clean, and efficacious. And I want you to know that so that you can always find quality. So let's get into some of my formulas. I would first like to discuss my general tonic for all people, 3 Masters. This is the most simple product of mine, only containing 3 ingredients. Firstly is reishi mushroom. Reishi is called the mushroom of good fortune. For some reason, when we take it, it's not psychotropic, but reishi has a way of bringing your frequency up. So suddenly benevolent energy starts to manifest around you. The ancient Chinese masters knew this, and they wrote about it. And there are ancient scroll paintings that show the old master with the reishi mushroom going, wow. It's sometimes called the herb of spiritual immortality, a bridge between earth and heaven. And that's the way I like to see it. Here's earth with Lao Tzu and Kuan Yin teaching their students. Here's a little rock escarpment with reishi, and then up above is heaven with the emperor and empresses and the master immortals who developed our lineage, called Hsien. They're flying around. Reishi is right in the middle. It's like a bridge between earth and heaven. I mean, it's harmless, it's not psychotropic. Reishi, it's very good to support general immunity in the body to help protect us against all the dangerous stuff out there. The second ingredient is shilajit. Shilajit is the humic remains of ancient rainforests. Long ago, people noticed these monkeys were known to be very smart and agile, and they would be seen in spring climbing up the Himalayan mountains to the crags way up at 10,000 feet and eating this black tar that would come out of the cracks in spring. Then people tried it, and it came to be used by the Sufis, who could supposedly run through brick walls, and it came to be called conqueror of mountains, destroyer of weakness. So now modern researchers have found that shilajit is the humic remains, the broken down residue of all living creatures in an entire ecosystem that lived before. We only find shilajit in very, very high mountain peaks up around 10,000 feet. So what I believe occurred is when the Indian subcontinent rammed into the Asian continent and pushed the Himalayan mountains up, prior to that event, there was already an ecosystem there, a complete rainforest with animals and giant insects and birds and fish. Some of this was like rolled into the strata and encased inside. Every single element is in shilajit in proper ratios for human health. And that's one reason why we're struggling with our health these days, is because so many elements are missing from our food. Humic acids never break down in nature. They are the basis of soil, such small molecules that plants can take up humic acids as their food. And in the spring, when the weather warms, the rock strata expands a bit in the high mountains and some of this oozes out. People have to scale way up in there, and it's very dangerous to find this stuff. So there isn't much shilajit in the world. It can be used to restore agriculture, restore forests, and used as a fertilizer, and all people can benefit from this, but there isn't much. I have a pure, dried, powdered shilajit, no excipients or fillers, in 3 masters. And then I add ormus. Ormus is a mysterious substance that exists at the threshold between energy and matter. So they have found urns now in tombs in Egypt and China where gold was being smelted into a white powder and used by the emperors and empresses and the pharaohs. This white powder was capturing the essence of the ormus in gold. Ormus occurs in crystal structures, and crystal itself is silica-based. And I think that that is where ormus is trapped, in the lattices that form hexagonal structural shapes, which are at the basis of all of what we perceive as matter. I call ormus a dedication device between the master gardener, God, Brahma, whatever you want to call. You've got the blueprint. That's where ormus exists. So ormus is thought to be an amplifying device. When you combine ormus with reishi and shilajit, and you have what is undoubtedly the 3 most powerful substances that I know of. 3 masters is something for all people. Completely harmless. Definitely give it a shot. I'd like to talk about my formula, air. I was living in Ojai, California when the bad fires happened out there. Everything burned all around, and we were suffering from smoke for a long time. Everyone's lungs were burning, and people came to me and said, can you create a formula for the lungs? So I created a formula based on the Master Materia Medica of TCM, using all of the herbs known throughout centuries to help reduce lung heat and increase general lung function and enhance lung immunity. And so we have cordyceps in air. The Tibetan people take cordyceps in the high mountains to increase their utilization of oxygen in their bodies. There isn't much oxygen up there, you know. Also, we have platycodin and fritillaria, are 2 herbs that have been combined for centuries to help with reducing inflammation, building up general lung health. We have magnolia bud and mint for Scythia. These herbs are cooling for lung heat. And other herbs that are known to nourish the respiratory system. We can take this during all these fires, but also if someone just can't express themselves. Have you ever heard someone who seemed to have a kind of a choked and feeble voice, like they couldn't speak? Air can help them. People who get hoarse a lot, singers and public speakers who want to increase the quality of their voice, can benefit a great deal from air. I recommend a bottle of it, maybe in spring, particularly in fall. Fall is when the air dries and the dusts of the winter blow up. That's a good time to take air. Allure contains herbs long used for centuries by the women of Asia to maintain the luster of their pearly skin. One of the primary ingredients in Allure is pearl, actual pearl. In the past, the empress dowagers, all of the elite women of China would have pearl ground up for 24 hours in a mortar and pestle, and they would take that for their skin. But at that time, pearl was only thought to be about 50% bioavailable in the body because it's still a pretty much calcified mineral-based. Well, in recent times, the Japanese discovered how to use an enzyme to break pearl down into a powder, which makes it about 99% absorbable and bioavailable in the body. And at the same time, the culinary cultivation of oysters created a plethora of pearls that were imperfect, that wouldn't make necklaces. Just that most pearls are knobbly looking, and these go into making these supplements, creams. I just don't know how much pearl is really in some of those creams, but I don't spare any expense. I put a lot of pearl in Allure. The other great beauty herb is schizandra. When you see those sculptures of Kuan Yin, and she's oftentimes holding a chalice, like a little vase in her hands, that chalice contains a potion of schizandra that she drinks for her eternal beauty. Sometimes you see her pouring it out, that she is fertilizing the earth and making our planet beautiful again. The other herbs in Allure help moisturize the skin. We have dendrobium, ophiopagan, and Rehmannia, anti-aging beauty tonic to keep the skin supple. Goji berry, which is known for overall health and luster of the skin. Ho Shou Wu, to help give us a nice thick head of hair in its natural color. Allure is a formula for all people, and it's a wonderful anti-aging tonic too. It tastes great as an elixir in the morning, and combined with any of my other formulas, it's fantastic to have in your whole mix. So take some Allure along with a healthy diet and see your beauty rise. Amarata is for sexual vitality and fertility. Now, don't run away, don't fast forward just yet, because it isn't taboo to look at our reproductive energies. This is why. When our body produces the right ratios of the reproductive hormones, a little bit more testosterone for men, a bit more progesterone for women, the body recognizes itself as a viable reproductive vehicle, and then hormones will start to be synthesized that are good for the skin, like superoxide dismutase, or SOD, which is a wonderful anti-aging hormone. You see, when we go to the sexual energies, it's the quickest way to fast track our youthfulness and revitalization. We can certainly burn ourselves out using sexual energies wrong. Mantak Chia and other people have books on the cultivation and how to share those powerful energies with your loved one. But don't run away from the idea of fortifying that base chakra energy, male and the female gonads. And that's one of the fastest ways to see your youth coming back. Amarata includes sistanch, a wonderful Yongjing herb taken throughout history and renowned by all of the emperors and men and women of ancient China for helping assist with reproductive potency. And then epimedium, and that's known as the horny goat weed. And it got this name because in the ancient times, goat herders would find that their goats would eat the leaves from this plant just before going into their mating season. And so it was referred to as horny goat weed. But this is a wonderful herb for overall health. Amarata, a great formula for all people, for their growth and their strength. All right. Ascend is my formula for cleansing the body, blood, liver, and lymph. In our lineage, we feel that we should cleanse the body every spring, sometimes in the fall too. And springtime is when the liver is dominant, and we've just gone through the winter where the days were shorter, we might have eaten more, we bundled up, we ate warmer food, we slept longer, and now we have to kind of clean the pipes out a little bit. So along with your green leaf vegetable juice, you take Ascend, a jar or two of it. Ascend contains the great herbs used throughout Chinese history to cleanse the body and make sure the microbes that we don't want, like yeasts, bad bacteria, and parasites. Scutellaria bicalensis is one of the primary herbs in the formula, or short is scute root. It is the root of the skullcap plant. This is known in Asian medicine as a broad spectrum antibacterial, antimicrobial. But the thing about scute that I love is that it's never been shown to harm the good bacteria in the gut. And that's one of the problems with some of the Western pharmaceuticals, is they harm the good guys too. Scute has never been shown to cause those problems. In fact, if we look into Chinese history, when the Europeans came, they brought lots of plagues, but the Asian people fought it off. Another herb in the formula, coptis. Bupleurum is said to, quote, dredge the liver of toxins. It's an excellent herb used to help cleanse the blood, liver, and lymph. And then we have herbs to help stabilize our emotions, because sometimes when you're going through a cleanse, you can have emotional turmoil. When you dig a well, the first buckets are going to be muddy. And we're going down there and we're churning things up. And for a little while, we're going to have what we refer to as a temporary healing syndrome. In medicine, it's called Herxheimer's, where we feel kind of crummy at first because things are being churned up. Polygala is called the will strengthener, to continue on our cleanse, not to fall back, and to stick through our fast. Also, white peony root, which is very famous for moving blood and chi to help flowing. Ascend is a powerful formula. It's safe and effective. At night before bed is I found the most effective way to take it, and really see it in the stools, just really removing some stuff that you don't want in your body. Ascend can be an essential component of our year-long health regimen, taken in spring, sometimes in fall. All right. Awaken is my formula for adaptability to stress, replenishing the adrenals, helping people multitask. The herbs in Awaken are referred to as adaptogens. Rhodiola was discovered in 1947 by a Russian doctor named Lazarov, who recognized that it had a non-specific effect on balancing and replenishing the adrenals. They discovered it in the Arctic up in Russia when they found that it helped those people up there live in the winters and adapt to them. Lazarov went to study them and found this rhodiola at that time. I use Rhodiola crenulata, thought to be the original species. It's possibly more effective than Rhodiola rosea. I also include lion's mane, a mushroom known for mental acuity, very popular these days, and gynostema, a wonderful adaptogen from the Hunza people that keeps them climbing those mountains throughout their lives. Astragalus, one of the great adaptogenic herbs of the world. Eleuthero, which used to be called Siberian ginseng. This is a wonderful formula of the top herbs to help us adapt to the stresses of today's life. So people who are active, multitask, business owners, musicians, artists, writers, students in school, very important to help focus on the adventurous life that we have and achieving our goals. Awaken is also an anti-aging formula because when you replenish the adrenals, you benefit all of the body's endocrine system to balance the pituitary with the adrenal hormones. And Awaken is definitely a formula that everyone could have in their health cupboard, taken along with healthy juices every day in their healthy diet, a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of exercise, and you'll be ready to go. Awaken, an essential formula for today's world. Dream is my formula for sleeping. Dream isn't a sedative formula. I'm not trying to knock people out. What I want to do is help us wind down into a peaceful sleep. Let's let go of the anxiety of the day's chores, what we didn't finish, what we've got to do tomorrow, what we feel is not resolved, anxiety. Let all that go and wind down into sleep. Dream has reishi mushroom to help the mind be in a peaceful state. Reishi is called the mushroom of good fortune, and it is. Then I combine with spirit poria, another fungal mass that is said to help ground yet liberate us of the gobbledygook that's in our heads. And I combine polygala, the will strengthener. Polygala is used in the Shaolin monasteries throughout Asia to help the monks maintain their general vows. It's called the Shin stabilizer. Shin means spirit. Stabilize us into a peaceful evening, and you can pick up the action again tomorrow. But for now, wind down and let it go. And that is dream. Empath is my formula for healers. There are a lot of healers out there. When I see mechanics, car mechanics, they're healers, you know. People are coming to them going, oh my God, my car, we got to take our trip tomorrow. Is there any way you could stay late and fix it? Okay. What happens is people get burnt out when we're trying to help others. People come to us with needs. They're needy. Oh my God, help me overcome my heartbreak, my anxiety. And sometimes people come to us and say, oh, please come down into this abyss where I live and just see how terrible it is because I need somebody to empathize with me down here. And if the healer allows him or herself to be drawn into that emotional vortex of their problems, the healer's life force starts to get drawn out, leaked out, the Chinese say, through the solar plexus, right between the kidneys and the lower back, is the area where the Chinese believe the cosmic energy of the universe enters into the body. We healers draw from that to give to others. And if they're sucking our energy, what happens is you feel a pulling in your lower back, and suddenly you feel a sense of fatigue. You've got to sit down. And if you keep going, you could become debilitated, where you can't even move. That happened to me a couple times in my life. The great masters of our Taoist lineage created a formula for healers, and it simply is called healer's tea. So today, if you go into an acupressure clinic in China, you will see a pot of this tea cooking and you will smell its aroma. And if people don't see that, they won't go in there. And every practitioner is required to come out and drink some of this after every session in order to maintain their ability to continue working and helping others. The herbs in a healer's tea are dendrobium pod, schizandra, licorice root, and goji berry. There are only 4 herbs, but it is amazingly effective as what we call a yin replenisher, to replenish the jing back into that solar plexus to keep us going. I modernized the formula with my empath to contain also herbs that help protect the healer's auric body. I added reishi mushroom, the herb of spiritual empowerment, ophiopagan, a yin replenisher, and Rehmannia, a wonderful herb for helping replenish the kidneys, and other herbs in the formula to keep us strong. Are you a counselor, psychologist, a teacher? Teachers get really burnt out. Empath is for you. I'd like to tell you about my formula, Embrace. I'm really proud of this combination of herbs developed over centuries and used safely and effectively. But I have created a new formula combining elements to strengthen the energies of the first chakra, the procreative and sexual energies. You have Sustange, which is famous for the reproductive and the athletic and sexual energies, combining the energies of the second chakra, fertility, and you have Rehmannia, the kidney zone food, they call it. And the combining of those to bring that energy to the 4th chakra, the energy of compassion, adding reishi mushroom, the herb of good fortune, benevolence. And then I add polygala, called the will strengthener, to help us get over those sticky times when we're trying to make it work and having some problems. How many people do you know who've broken up over some dumb little argument only to have to work to get back together, and maybe sometimes they can't even then? Embrace. It strengthens your willpower to do what is right for the relationship, to help you understand the other person's point of view, and to rise above those little moments of disagreement, and to combine your passion with your compassion. What better way to gift a relationship than an occasional jar of Embrace? But it's not only for couples, and it's a wonderful longevity and beauty tonic. So try Embrace in your life and share it with your loved one, and I would love to hear about your experiences. Thanks. Endurance is my formula for people who are physically active, athletes, construction workers, people who have to be hauling things around and moving a lot. Endurance is also a great formula for young teenagers to support stronger bones and muscle toning and just growth in general. This is a wonderful overall formula for all people today. Endurance is called a Yang Jing formula. The Jing is the body itself and its capacity to reproduce. Yang means the outpouring of that energy to accomplish our goals, to run that race, climb that mountain, to get the roof built on the house. And you have eucommia bark for bone and ligament, one of the oldest herbs ever documented in human history. Endurance is a great formula for anyone who just feels like they need more stamina, as a great tonic in the lives of anybody today, because we have to keep busy. And many of us are sitting still in our jobs. Endurance could give us the impetus to get out and take that brisk walk during our break. And it tastes great too, in a hot elixir in the morning. Endurance is a wonderful formula. Try it as an alternative to coffee sometime. Essentia is my formula for women. I just wanted to give a gift to our women of the world by creating a formula that supports 4 primary needs. 1, to fortify the blood itself, and to support general metabolism and energy, healthy weight management, and the flow of energy through the body Essentia is a very, very comprehensive formula that would benefit all women, specifically in reproductive years, but everyone else could benefit too. Women who have moved into premenopause and beyond, who could be anemic or who feel lethargic energy and want to manage their weight. Men who are vegan and vegetarian can benefit. The primary herbs are white atractylodes. This herb is said to warm the middle jowl, the middle part of the body, where the pot of tea that is the stomach and the spleen that is the burner and the pancreas warm this place up. So it's essentially assisting proper metabolism. Then Essentia includes poria, a wonderful herb to, what we say, transform damp into chi. Sometimes women can get water bloating as edema, which causes pesky weight gain around the middle part of the body. So when you use these two herbs, warming the spleen and helping transform the dampness into qi, we can then help metabolize and prevent or reduce the effects of the bloating edema that so many women experience. I add dong guai and ligusticum, two great herbs for, quote, building blood. Women in menstrual years have to refresh the blood each month. Dong guai and ligusticum are famous herbs throughout Chinese history for women to avoid anemia. Dong guai is the #1 herb for helping women maintain proper blood in the body, warm hands and feet, glowing skin. The blood has upright qi. That's going to benefit the menstrual cycle, ideally. Very sophisticated understanding that comes from thousands of years of observation throughout Asia, combined in this formula. And then I add pearl and schizandra, the two great beauty herbs. It's a part of the gift that I want to share with our women of the world, who I would say are the most beautiful creatures in the entire cosmos. So enjoy my gift, Essentia. Eternal Jing is my combination of all of the top anti-aging herbs in one. Ho Shou Wu, the herb of black hair. You have Rehmannia, the kidney's own food, they call it. You have Sustanch, which is famous for the reproductive and the athletic energies. This is a wonderful overall formula for all people today. We're noticing a kind of a debilitated strength because of the onslaught of the toxicity, and the fact that people are not really physically active enough these days is not conducive to a long, healthy life. So when we take the top tonic herbs that the emperors and empresses and the elite of ancient China and Japan and Korea took throughout history to maintain their famed longevity, and they were said to be immortals way back in the olden days who took these herbs. They were called Hsien, that means immortals. That's the title of my series of novels. Eternal Jing is a wonderful formula for all people, anytime, to include in your regimen, along with healthy juices, sunlight, physical activity. You will see everything increase: your endurance, your creativity, your ability to handle stress, and general growth for all people at any age. A little of that every morning is an elixir. It tastes great too. All right, enjoy some Eternal Jing. Phoenix is my formula for women who are nearing midlife and beyond, that I think are overlooked in our society. Midlife women are probably our most under-recognized demographic. I'd seen my mother go through a terrible menopausal shift. She was under incredible stress during that time, and I watched her sort of like harden to the world. At that time, I was about 8 years old, and I said, I want to grow up to understand what happened to my mother. And that was what led me on my path to begin this search. And so Phoenix is a really important formula for me because it contains the herbs that were the answer to my questions. The wild yam, called Dioscorea, helps the body build progesterone. So once women are starting to experience inovulatory moon cycles where there's no ovulation, at that time it's good to start supplementing this yam. Dioscorea contains a class of nutrients called diosgenins that help the body synthesize progesterone. The primary estrogens are synthesized from progesterone. This yam, Dioscorea, helps a woman's body maintain proper female hormone balance, always maintaining enough progesterone to regulate her estrogen needs and general stamina during this time in life. Also, we have eucommia bark. This is a wonderful herb for bone, tendon, and ligament. One of the oldest herbs ever documented in human history. Long ago, the legend goes, somebody saw a deer get a bone fracture, and then the deer ate the bark of a certain tree, and they watched and its bone healed. And back in those days, a deer with a broken bone was a goner, and this deer lived. And so someone then in the clan got a broken bone, and they went and got some of this same stuff the deer did and gave it to them, and someone noted that their bone healed quicker. And that might have been the beginnings of the writing about herbalism in the world. Eucommia bark today is the #1 bone, tendon, and ligament supporting herb in traditional Chinese medicine. Women who are deficient in progesterone can start to develop osteoporosis. What is one of the big culprits in that deficiency is stress. Stress robs progesterone and turns it into defense hormones. So when women are under intense stress, like my mother was, it is likely they can develop osteoporosis. Now we add reishi mushroom for spiritual strength and resilience. I add Rehmannia and Ho Shou Wu, 2 great anti-aging herbs, and Morinda, an herb for general vitality. Phoenix is a wonderful formula, and I'm so proud to be able to present this to our wonderful women in midlife and beyond, because I love you. Shield is my formula for general support of our overall immune functions, to balance the immune response and help fortify our protection against all of the invasive and harmful elements that are out there today. We know we must take care of our immunity, and I would say that Shield can be a valuable tool in that arsenal to help protect us. We have in Shield the 5 primary polypore mushrooms. These tree mushrooms have a specific class of nutrients called beta-136 glucans. These are immune building, activating, and invigorating these big cells called macrophages, and their job is to find the little irregular dead cell, the cancerous cell, the protid, the yeast, and to surround it and engulf it, and it's called phagocytized. So we want to fight the good fight from within our body. In Asian medicine, it has been studied extensively that the polypore mushrooms can help balance and regulate and kind of fine-tune, almost kind of re-educate the immune response. Then I add Scutellariae bicalensis, a natural broad-spectrum antimicrobial herb. So all these little microbes in our body cause an acidic pH, and that causes inflammation as well. Astragalus, one of the great herbs for general protection, a wonderful adaptogen, and then a white peony root to move the qi in blood, because stagnant qi is where disease can accumulate and cause the inflammation and illness when energy is stuck. I'm very proud to be able to present this comprehensive protection formula, Shield. Rocta is a formula that I created to fortify the blood. I primarily was concerned about helping vegans and vegetarians avoid anemia, because being vegetarian primarily, I have at times felt I was getting a bit anemic, and the sign of that was my hands and feet would get cold really easily. But I know that this is an issue, particularly with women in menstrual years who don't want to eat a lot of meat, who can potentially become anemic as a result of not eating meat. Now, the reason for that is because meat is high in a type of iron that's very easily bioavailable called heme iron. We must look at this for a second. Now, you've got the cow. The cow's eating the grass. That's where the iron comes from. But the grass, the iron in there is called ferric iron. It's not very assimilable in our digestive systems. When the cow eats that grass, it has 6 stomachs and 2 weeks of digestion time, where ferric iron is rendered into what is referred to as ferrous iron, and that's called heme iron for short. That iron is very easily assimilable into our blood. Every one of our blood cells has 4 iron ions. That's what makes our blood red. When the blood is passing through these splenic arteries, it must replenish with some of these iron ions, the new blood cells. And then once the blood has the hemoglobin and oxygen from the lungs, then it has what we call upright qi, warm hands and feet, glowing skin, good circulation. And so I add herbs to support the circulatory process: Salvia miltariza, Ligusticum and Dongguai to build blood, and herbs to support general metabolism and warming the spleen, white atractylodes and Cotinopsis. This is a wonderful formula for cleanse the blood. If you've had an accident where you lost blood, it's great to help replenish. Rocta is just a really good formula, and particularly if you want to start cutting back on meat, I would advocate taking Rocta along with a vegan or vegetarian diet, men and women. Vegan men can get anemic too. Thank you, and I'm happy to give this gift to the world. Shift is my formula for spiritual fortification. We have the great reishi mushroom, the mushroom of spiritual immortality. When we take reishi, life becomes fuller and bigger. Benevolence starts to manifest in our lives. It really does. It's an amazing thing. And I just love having reishi in my life. It changed me when I found it in 1998. You know, I thought I was a possessed, messed up dude with an angry mind and a toxic liver. Reishi really began my turnaround into abundance. And today, I most recommend reishi out of all the herbs I talk about for all people. I think it'll maybe even be involved in the evolutionary shift that I believe is coming for humanity. Also, we have spirit poria. This exemplifies our Taoist lineage. Liberate yourself of the psychic and spiritual gobbledygook, but stay grounded in your Tao, in your path. And we have asparagus root, and this is the herb the Taoist monks say can make them fly. But I always say, now look, don't go and try and fly when you take this, please. We're not capable of that today. When you take asparagus root, you can start having dreams that you're lighter. One dream, say you're on kind of a skateboard, you know, and then the next dream, you're sort of at the ceiling and there's a party, and you're going, hey, this is easy. Come on, everybody, let me show you. Come on up here with me. And that is your body telling you. It's liberating some of the heavy, earthbound psychic and spiritual gobbledygook that's been bogging you down. And we have longan to nourish the heart. We have pearl to ground and uplift. We have albizia flower. This herb is said to help a person overcome heartbreak, anxiety, and stress. Shift has helped me almost more than any of my formulas on an immediate level. I had incredible anxiety a few years ago when at that time I was lost and didn't know what to do. And I took Shift and it gave me the clarity to begin creating SuperTonic Herbs. It really did. A formula like Shift can help you take your problem and kind of flip it. And you realize the benevolence of why it is occurring in your life. Shift is for all people. I don't know how to stress that more. We all need this formula in this time to overcome all of the heartbreak and the anxiety and the feelings of being left out. Whatever it is, Shift can get you through it. So try Shift in a warm elixir in the morning. Lastly, I want to talk about my wonderful smoothie shake mix, Spirit Jing. This is a tasty mix that you can put in alternate milk, I like oat milk. Spirit Jing is based on creamy powders of whole black bean, black rice, and black sesame. Then I add in Ho Shou Wu, an anti-aging tonic, helping have a nice pigment in your hair. And I add black reishi mushroom and black maca. So this is a black food product. Now, why did I do that? It's because the ancient masters of our Taoist lineage believed that foods that are black in color go to your kidneys. They were looking at anatomy thousands of years ago, and they saw that the kidneys were way down there where it's dark, and they looked like two black beans. And they said, well, if we eat black foods, maybe they'll go down there. And they knew the kidneys governed our reproductive and our anti-aging mechanisms in our body. Particularly the endocrine function is all part of the kidney system, according to our lineage. Throughout history, the emperors and empresses, and particularly today in Korea, black food drinks are very popular. In every street corner, you'll see these people making black food shakes. I took it further by putting herbs that tonify the spirit, spirit poria, albizia flower, asparagus root, into an anti-aging tonic. What better way to start your day? Some invigoration, rejuvenation, and clearing the mind, creating a positive attitude to walk into a strong day of stamina to achieve all of your dreams and your goals. Spirit Jing is my favorite potion in the morning. I'll often mix some of my other formulas with it. One day I might put 3 masters in. Another time I may add awaken to it. So you can play with the alchemy and combine tonic herbs according to how we like, that we can concoct. I love Spirit Jing as the base of my elixir every day, and I make this for myself and my brothers. So that's my talk on the SuperTonic Herbs formulas. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I love to hear any feedback that you have. I'm not inaccessible. I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. So get in touch with me anytime you would like, and come to SuperTonicHerbs.com to see more, and we'll talk soon.